What is pain? Where do I find loss? How do I measure injustice or equate value to something that was never mine?
It made me crazy. I couldn't function.
Like the future that looked bright and the doors look open. And all of a sudden, that just disappeared.
And that's when I knew things aren't gonna be the same for me.
When we are plunged into isolation, how do we deal with our own mortality? How do we find our purpose? How do we rise from the ashes?
Ik was zo vechten, want alles wat ik doe ik het beste van mijn vermogen. En ik was ook iemand wat makkelijk te opgooien. En ik denk mijn tegenzettingsvermogen is mijn kracht wat mijn om die dag weer aan de gang. Alles wat ik zoveel gedaan heb, kon ik hem weer doen zoals ik dat gedaan heb voor ik COVID begon. Ik kon mij terughouden en mijn menswaardigheid is op die gedaan. En dat zit de persoon als ik als niet.
I've got two kids. Damien is 5 years old and Lucia is 3 years old. Before them, I didn't know what I was all about and what my mission was. When I met them, then I realized. I know now, yeah. I would like to say that I'm trying my best to be the best dad that I can be every day, because you can't be perfect. Even though you try, there are things that you fail at, and it makes me feel that I'm incompetent and that I cannot look after my children, especially with COVID. It does really amplify problems.
For me, life was full of hope because I started my career off very well. I started making films. I was just getting into it, and the future that looked bright and the doors look open. And I've just finished my studies, 2018, 2019. I started working. I was growing and opportunities was presenting themselves for me. Film is just a media that you can reach more people. I really realized at a young age that I wanted to be a storyteller.
Ever since I was a child, I used to save up money and just take a taxi to town and go to the video shop. And I couldn't finish my studies, so that bummed me a bit. But I always knew that if anything was my dream, it was to be a filmmaker. And that's when I knew I have to do this. Come hell or high water, I have to.
After high school, I think it was difficult for me to get a job. And then there was the Kasi Creative, was recruiting people for the film orientation course. And I quite enjoyed it. And I thought, yeah, this is something I would like to do. And in 2020, February, we just graduated. We were busy to get our CVs done and try to get a job in the film industry. I had a job lined up in Cape Town, but then COVID came. That job was no more, and everything was like just pipe dreams.
I heard about COVID and I phoned some musicians, friends of mine, and they told me that they heard that the bars are going to close down and that we're going to have a bit of a serious situation with work. Everybody knows that the arts goes first in a country when there's no money. I then realized I had to do something. I then saw advert and I applied as a property professional to try and see if I can make any money for my family. And then it's a kind of a thing that it takes money to make that kind of money. And I failed at that as well. I failed with that as well. Kar nummer 2, net na die Corsa. Die kar word nou ewe skielik hierdie kar word nou warm wat ek nou ry. But I'm coping with it. It's going to leave marks.
When I first found out about COVID, I thought to myself, what is this new virus that's coming out? Everybody is just making a big scene about it. They said curbs will be put on society. And I realized then that my work is gonna suffer from this.
Daar is sommige keren is ek hulp nodig, maar nou met die lockdown is mensen maar graag om te raken aan jou, want soms moet mensen aan me raken om me te helpen, maar dan kon hulle niet. Dan moet ik maar net zitten en wachten op genade tot iemand komt om me te helpen.
I just tested positive for COVID-19. Going to be in quarantine for like 14 days. You can see I'm just here going to be chilling here in a room. I don't know what I'm going to do for 14 days, but yeah, I'll see you guys in 14 days.
For me, because I was young, for me it just felt like you had a flu and you're just coughing. There's an irritation in your chest. And a few days after that, it went away. Now in my head, it's like, why couldn't it be to everybody the same, you know?
When the first project was cancelled, unfortunately due to COVID, then I realized now it's really hit me. The children were talking about it and they were making fun about it, and I thought, it's not gonna get us, it's only in China. But when it came, and I realized that I couldn't meet my needs for the end of the month, then I realized that this is not something to be taken lightly, and I'm gonna suffer as a filmmaker because of it.
The society heeft me klaar negatief. Nou moet ik nog deal met die dingen wat rondom die lockdown gaan. Hier is die emmer wat ik gebruik om te irriteren. En die challenge is wanneer ik moet gaan leegmaken, dan is het voor mij een probleem. Wanneer is je outfit mensen om voor mij leeg te maken. Mommy! Mommy!
Like an inferno, it swept across the country, unrelenting, always burning, until all that's left is ash.
When it hit home for me, it's when my grandmother got sick and she passed away. Then I realized that this is actually not a joke. This is going to change my life forever. I was so busy focusing on my dreams and, you know, chasing my goals. And I went through to see her, and she was in a coma, but that time she came out of it. I was so in a rush to get back to my work. I could have stayed a bit longer. And that's something that will bother me for the rest of my life, because that was the last time I ever saw her alive again.
If you don't have a job, you don't have no income. There was a time in our household, my aunt was the only provider in the house. It was tough for me as a young guy, growing up to be a man, looking my aunt, and that was quite difficult for me because I shut it down. Sometimes I thought, yo, I'm supposed to be at work, I'm supposed to go out and work like a man should do for a family, but I can't. There was times like that I was ready to give up. I was feeling like I failed my family, I failed myself, because I always had big dreams. I always work hard for what I want. But at that time, there was nothing coming from me. There was no job, no nothing.
We need to leave here. They sent us a notice. It's not always fair, but it is what it is. I had to move because of financial reasons, and when I found out that the mother of my children wanted to keep the children away from me because of financial reasons, it made me crazy. I couldn't function. And I was sitting and thinking the whole time, what can they do? Because as a single parent and with no money, there's not a lot you can actually do.
There was times where I started to question God also. I started asking questions like, where's God in this pandemic? Why is he not providing for us? Why do you let your people suffer like this?
Soms denk ik, kom dat ik mooi weg geweest ik wil. Rondom mensen wezen, en hulle verstaan altijd hoe ik voel. So ik moet maar alles aanhouden voor mezelf. Ik heb wel alleen gevoeld.
Knowing no work is gonna come my way for quite some time. It's like the quiet before the storm, you know the massive storm is coming. After everything that I'm going through, I still have to deal with discovering about my wife, losing her love for me, While I was trying to find a way through the industry, I realized that my wife fell in love with someone else, and the blatant reasons was I don't have a future for her. I can't provide for her, I can't be a man, I'm not a man. And I mean, I just... I just couldn't believe it, that she actually did leave me, but I think COVID took the one thing away from me that I really valued the most, was to return home to a support system. Knowing your heart's desire to make a way for your family, you have this passion, this dream, you know it can provide, but your wife doesn't believe in you. And as a result, it causes your son to lose hope in you, and discovering that there's no one to support you anymore, that really broke me. It really broke me.
Here, in this suffering, all previous beliefs are consumed in the fire, sparked and fueled by our own illusion. The pain becomes the ashes we are now entombed in. It is only when we find ourselves at this most imprisoned of junctures that we emerge again, the phoenix of our very life, which is ever so much more beautiful than the lost one.
There were a lot of moments where you thought this was the end, I can't do this.
I was really depressed, and I was really considering leaving filming because I've dedicated my whole life to filming, and at that point I was like, maybe I should have gotten a job that was more secure.
There were so many times I wanted to commit suicide, but I decided not to because for some reason I still thought in my heart that there's hope, there's gonna be a way somehow. Just don't extinguish the flame completely.
And when you look back, you realize it was just a moment. Doesn't matter how many mistakes you make, you will succeed if you keep on going.
My son, he actually started to make his own YouTube videos, while I was going through this slump. He picked up the camera and he started producing his own short videos, That really motivated me, man. That really motivated me because if he could do it, if he could just pick up the camera and do it, why can't I, man?
After that, everything changed. It stopped. Everything started moving slow because life was moving at a very fast pace. Constantly moving, constantly getting forward, and COVID brought everything to a stop. COVID was a time for me to reflect and find out what I need to do. My girlfriend told me, look, everybody's going through this. Everybody's going through this. This is a great opportunity to start networking.
Toe ons na die derde vlak toe gaan, toe besef ek nee, ek gaan nie nou meer worry van die COVID, ek gaan nou die negatiewe goed na 'n positiewe ding omskep om my besig te hou. En ek kyk op die internet wat ek kan doen, en toe het ek die training sessies bygewoon van die Kaarsmiele, en dit was my draaipunt.
Ja, alle oog. Sy die een wat hom maklik te opgooi nie. Hy's 'n vechter.
I realized that producing is the area I need to focus in so that other people can also get opportunities to come into the film industry. A lot of people have to work together to get one project out, so it's teamwork, it's group work, and every job is important when it comes to filming. The platform is open for new ideas. People have to go and reflect like, what are we going to do next? I realized that, look, now I need to start writing, start coming up with shows, started sending out emails, and some people actually coming back, and we're still working together today, and we're still seeing how we can work through this pandemic together and create something beautiful. The industry will never be the same. Opportunities is there for young, inspiring filmmakers like myself, and it's our time now.
I thought of, I'm a barber, so I could make some money while we're in lockdown. And at the time, all the barbershops was closed. People started to coming to me to cut their hair, and I did quite a good job. And so that was the turning point for me, and that was when I started to realize I can use this talent also to get an income for me and for my family. From that onwards, things started to really looking good for me. I was throwing in my CVs for jobs. I was prepared to do anything, literally anything. I went to Clicks or throw in my CV, but then they said I must come in. And I also applied to the job at DigiTV. The same day I went for the Clicks interview, DigiTV called me and said it was a Friday, I can start working on the Monday. So that was a lot of blessings.
People started contacting me for work, and I thought that was like an epiphany at that moment. People said to me, we believe in you, we know it's a tough time for all of us, but there's hope. And I think those that came to my aid and my support, they planted these seeds of inspiration and motivation within me without them even knowing it. Because I was going through the darkest time in my life, and I started moving from there, just pushing. Every day, every moment, every waking hour, just investing more and more time to get better and to find a way. Just to find a way.
Things is going to get much better. That will benefit my daughter, and that will benefit my relationship and make everybody proud. And one day I would look back when I'm 60 old. I can look back at my life and say, I did well for myself.
I didn't let COVID hold me back or break me or anything like that. All the people is busy trying to get better at themselves as an individual. But once you realize every day you have a chance to impart in someone's life, to give someone a motivational word or anything like that, it just make me a better person.
Ik heb begin moedeloos raak en ik heb maar niet gedacht, hoe kan ik die dierbaar krijgen? Mensen kan makkelijk negatieve goede denken. Als een mens communiceren met andere mensen, dan ja, wil ik ook voor jou om meer positief te kijken naar dingen. Ongeacht een mens, zijn uitdaging, dat is lag aan het einde van de tunnel.
It's not that we're out of the worst yet. We don't even know what to expect yet, but I have so much more strength now and eagerness and enthusiasm to move forward, even though I'm moving into a hurricane.
Ik is blij, want ik heb mijn pa bij mij. Hij zal altijd af voor mij wees. En mijn pa is een filmmaker, so ik kan niet bij tijd zijn ons waarderen, maar ik weet maar niet, hij werkt hard om ons met elkaar te en hij is bij lief voor mij. En ik is bij lief voor mijn pa.
Maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe this is nature's way to make us stop. Stop running. Stop fighting. Stop throwing stones at each other. Just stop. Maybe this is an opportunity for us to become still, to be honest, to search for the strength within and rise up braver and more courageous.
I think if you look back at your own life, you realize there's a lot of hope. I think there's always hope. I think sometimes we stay so long at a tree we forget to look at the forest. And I think after this we'll get to our forest.
I just know for a fact that I love what I'm doing. There's so much more that I want to learn. There's so much more I want to do. So much more productions I want to get involved with. The leaves will fall, but springtime is coming, you know? Springtime is coming.
Our hope never died. Glancing back, we now know that while we may have been isolated, we are never alone.
You wake up, you look in the mirror, you make a promise, never give up. Times are rough, act tough. From the ashes, we'll rise through the flame. The story needs to be told. Live it frame by frame, scene by scene, directed naturally. And remember, slow motion. Slow motion.